Well, it's time for Community Corner, where we're going to highlight those stories that teach, inspire, and help us to learn a little bit more about our neighbors here in Metro Atlanta. I'm Ron Jones. Well, there's a new political action committee that just launched right here in Georgia with the hopes of encouraging Latinos to run for office. And the group is called Paralympic Georgia and is planning to recruit and financially support candidates in our state. 11 Alive's Paulo Suro spoke with the co-founder and the chairperson.
They need to hear your name, see your face, and see themselves in you and your background.
That's the goal of new political action committee Paralympic Georgia, getting more Latino candidates and elected leaders to represent the growing community. Co-founder and chair Humberto Garcia Juegrim says that with 10% of the growing population being Latino, having more representation is crucial.
If we had equal representation, then we'd have roughly 600 seats, from city council, school board, up all the way up to the Georgia State Senate. We know of less than 20 Latinos. So 20 versus 600, that's a third of 1% versus 10%, that again, if we had the equal representation.
Paralympic Georgia aims to do this by recruiting, training, and financially supporting Latinos who wish to run for office.
There you can see us speaking outside.
They held their first fundraising event last week and are already endorsing 4 candidates, including 3 running for City Council in Morrow, Flowery Branch, and Brookhaven, and a candidate running for Clerk of Superior Court in Athens, Clark County.
Within days of endorsing them, we cut them each a $250 check. It's not a lot, but that's a promise of more to come if they run a good campaign. We bootstrapped this ourselves. The board, which we're blessed to have a wonderful board, has helped get this off the ground.
Humberto says there's not enough Latinos running for office due to the community being young, with many being first or second generation, making it harder to feel fully established. But he says with the Latino population expected to grow to 2.5 million people by 2050, they hope to change that.
72% of students in Dalton Public Schools are Latino. Not one member of City Council is Latino. No one on the county commission is Latino. So there's a significant imbalance there.
Paulo Suro, 11 Alive News.
State and local leaders recently gathered with hundreds of law enforcement officers for the 19th annual Crime is Toast breakfast. Now, it's an event to showcase the bravery and heroic efforts of their colleagues. 11 Alive's Brittany Kleinpeter has their story.
Dozens of law enforcement officers were honored here today at the Georgia World Congress Center. For about 2.5 hours, we got to hear story after story about bravery and vigilance.
Mr. Cushman took it upon himself to buy steering wheel locks for the most.
Our streets are safer thanks to Investigator Shepard.
During a ceremony honoring Atlanta Police Department's finest, it was one story that stood out among the rest. A pair of Zone 5 precinct officers received the Medal of Honor for their response efforts. On that fateful day, a man opened fire inside Northside Hospital in Midtown.
Please join us in honoring Officers Antoine Gaines and O. Cooper as they accept the Medal of Honor for APD's Zone 5 officers.
Just a day that we train for, but we don't expect it to happen.
I was able to get a picture of the suspect, his name, his date of birth, and get the other information to other agencies as quick as possible.
State and local leaders like Governor Brian Kemp and Mayor Andre Dickens also took the opportunity to highlight the importance for trained officers and firefighters, expressing their continued support for Atlanta's future public training facility. In Atlanta, Brittany Kleinpeter, 11 Alive News.
A local teenager received a huge welcome home after fighting a tough battle at Children's Health Care of Atlanta. Logan Knight was admitted last November after he woke up unable to form sentences or see clearly. He later had surgery to remove cancer from his brain. Logan spent months in and out of the hospital completing chemo and proton treatments. Well, he recently wrapped up his treatment and got this huge welcome in Rome from his neighbors, family, and friends, and even law enforcement congratulating Logan. Clayton County leaders are hoping that a brand new push can help people in several parts of the county get reliable internet and phone service. 11 Alive's Teresa Bowles explains how residents can get involved and get money from the county to pay for it.
The internet is a vital tool, so when you can't get it,
it's really frustrating. My friends and I were just talking like, is something going on? Like the cellular, the tower, something.
Deborah Hendricks says her phone constantly drops, and it took 3 days for her to upload a video online.
You have to connect sometimes to hotspot. You're paying all this money for your phone bill, and you're not even really getting half the service that you want. or expect.
I'm standing on Lee Street in Jonesboro, which runs between a school and the Jonesboro City Center. I have Verizon, and I only have one bar, and the same goes for other people who live in this part of the county.
We have actually done a study, and we know that a lot of our residents, may have like a 25 megabit per speed of internet, and other communities may have 100 megabit per speed of internet.
And that can still cost as much as $150. Last year, Clayton County launched an entire department to address the issue. Takia Thomas with the Digital Equity Office says that's why the county is fighting to keep affordable connectivity program funding, but it's in danger of running out.
It provides our residents with a $30 discount on their home internet or cell phone bill.
Next week, the office is asking residents to write letters to Congress to continue that funding. It also helps the county give out free devices and expand internet fiber, which residents have told me works better.
There are spots in the county where your phone might just drop, your signal may just drop. It's slow, but it's coming, and we do have a digital equity plan and broadband feasibility study that we're working on to improve the digital state of Clayton County.
Hendricks said she'd be willing and can't wait until all people in Clayton County will be on an even and consistent playing field.
Bring some kind of resources to the people, that would be phenomenal and greatly appreciated.
In Jonesboro, Teresa Bowles, 11 Alive News.
There's a brand new effort in Georgia to support employees caring for our children. 11 Alive's Liza Lucas gives us a look at the program that's about to launch.
When you think about it, many times people who work in early childhood also have their own young children, and it can be a great fit for them to work at a center and bring their kids with them. But the cost of childcare can often be a burden for families, and the industry itself is struggling to keep workers. To address these needs, Georgia is now investing $5 million in federal funding for a new program that aims to help childcare workers with the cost of childcare for their own children.
It's a pilot program. It'll start out small with about 30 programs, but the purpose is to pay about 90% of child care tuition for the individuals that are working in those early learning programs.
Deputy Commissioner Susan Adams with the Georgia Department of Early Care and Learning says the goal is to not only support staff, but keep these critical teachers in the field. Under the new pilot program, DeKalb will pay 75% of the tuition rate for eligible child care staff. Employers would pay 15% of cost, while employees pay 10%.
And certainly that's going to lower that tuition cost significantly for those individuals and really allow for them to be able to take home a wage that's family sustaining.
Again, the pilot program will start small. The state will collect data for a year to evaluate whether the tuition support helps with recruiting and retention.
One of Atlanta's very own is now preparing to compete in one of the biggest sporting events in the world. But the journey has not been easy for 16-year-old Paralympic swimmer Rachel Keene.
I was diagnosed right around quarantine with Charcot-Marie tooth disease, type 2A.
So Keene first felt the effects of her diagnosis in 2020. It's a progressive genetic disease that damages nerves in your feet, your legs, and your arms. When diagnosed, Keene decided to become a professional Paralympic swimmer.
Kind of from there, I found out about para sports and I found out about Paralympic swimming. And then I kind of got into that field. It was just so cool to be able to meet like other people that had like the same or different, struggles like that you had, and just it's like so empowering.
Well, here's the good part. This November, 3 years after her diagnosis, Keene will compete against top Paralympic swimmers in the Pan American Games, an accomplishment she calls a dream come true. Space propulsion just got a huge boost, so to speak, thanks to a Georgia Tech undergraduate student. 11 Alive's Melissa Nord shares his story.
As a third-year undergraduate, Dalton Ludke made an out-of-this-world impact during his NASA Pathways internship, designing a new type of rocket engine.
Created a small subscale engine to test a new combustion process.
Meet Marlin.
A marlin as a fish is very large, and the engine is of course very small, so it's just kind of funny.
Marlin stands for Maturation of Additive Really Little Engine and is the small version of Ludke's new detonation engine.
Current space missions use big constant pressure engines. Think of the big cylindrical rocket boosters as it lifts off with that final countdown. But Ludke's design shrinks that down to a ring. That's up to a 70% reduction in length, making it much more fuel efficient.
Putting a really hybrid or really efficient hybrid engine in a pickup truck while maintaining all of the power.
He built his engine using 3D printing with a laser fusing metal powders. Ludke had experience with this through the Aeromaker Space at Tech and years before through his family business with his dad. On his second engine test, it worked.
So it was really awesome to see not only that it worked, but that our clear configuration worked as well, so we could observe what was happening.
The excitement even more thrilling for his NASA colleagues.
All just very shocked. Not shocked that it worked, but very proud and happy that it worked.
A reminder, even the smallest fish in the big sea can make a difference, with marlin soaring into space in the future.
Within the next decade or two,